Alright YouTube, Happy New Year's, it's 2018. I wanted to update you on the 66 C10 project I got going on. Not actually working on the truck right now, I'm working on a 350 small block Chevy that I got. I've had it for quite a few years on an engine stand, just kind of sitting, waiting to be worked on. My plan is to put it in the 66 later this spring or possibly summertime, and it'll be a temporary power plant for that truck for a while until I decide to rebuild the 283. I would say probably 5 years plus down the line, and the original drivetrain will go back in it. But for now I'm working on this 350, and I've actually done quite a bit to it, and I just haven't shot any videos, so that's my fault. So I'll just discuss everything I've done to it thus far and get y'all up to speed. So here's the 350. It's bagged because the short block is already done and put together, and so this keeps the dust and crap out of it. So let's unbag it and show you what I got in there. So there's the 350 unbagged. It was previously rebuilt, so it's already 30 over, 1010 on the crank. These are just stock cast pistons, nothing exciting. Already honed the cylinders, and so I got a ball hone right there. Works out great. This engine will not be going back orange, so I had to strip all the paint. And let me get you up to speed on what I had to do. Pull this up here. Alright, this is cylinder 1, 3, 5. As you can see here, it's had a failure at some point in its life. Well, when I took it apart, I was cleaning the deck surface and just checking the flatness of it, and all day long I could get a 3/1000 feeler gauge in here, and I sanded and sanded and sanded and couldn't get it out. Stumbling on my words here. And so I had to just toss in the towel and get the block decked. I mean, the repair is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just it was kind of pitted a little bit, and I guess I had a low spot in it, so took care of that. Since I had the machine shop, went ahead and put new cam bearings and plugs, so all that's been taken care of. Yeah, you see all the new plugs and stuff. It is a letter model block, so it's one piece seal. New seal's already in it. See, there's the bosses for the lifter tray bracket, or whatever that thing's called. And got a new one-piece seal. Obviously I'm not done. I gotta take this oil pan back off and paint it. So right now it's just on there to kind of keep everything covered up and sealed, keep it from getting dirty. Already got a new comp cams in it. It's a Extreme Energy 262. It's going to be a real good street cam, and should work great for this little engine. So let me show you what I'm doing for cylinder heads. So here are the cylinder heads. Got a set of old school double hump 462 heads. The D77 is the date code, which is D for April 7th, and the last 7 is the year 1967, in case y'all didn't know how that works. So as you can tell, there's a lot of stuff been done to these heads. Already been machined for screw-in studs and guide plates. It's got the better PC valve seals, which are a lot better than those umbrella factory looking seals. They've already been machined for 202 160 valves. I'll show you that in a second. I personally have been porting and polishing the heads, which have turned out, in my opinion, very well. I'm not no professional at it, but I think they've turned out pretty good. Exhaust runner, I mean the water jacket. So yeah, let me show you the exhaust runners. Here's the exhaust runner side. I think they turned out pretty nice. There's a lot of just casting bumps and flash and just all kinds of unsmooth. So they're a lot better than what they were. Let's show you the combustion chamber side. So here's the combustion chamber side. Already been enlarged to 202 160 as I mentioned before. And most importantly, the valves have already been unshrouded. Like I said, I acquired them just like you see them, minus the port and polish. Got a light on these. You kind of see how they turned out. Still a lot of metal shavings in there. I haven't finished cleaning them up because I'm not done with them. I still got to polish the chambers. It's kind of nice. The intake's already smooth. Just kind of shine it up and be all right. But yeah, I went in and cleaned all the water ports and jackets and stuff like that that are in the head. A lot of casting flash in those things. It just makes sense to kind of knock all that stuff down. Should help with water flow and coolant. So, yep, head's already been resurfaced. Only thing I got to do is do a 3-angle valve job and these heads will be ready to go. Supposedly they had a valve job, but I don't know if y'all can see, they're not. These valves ain't never been touched. That's my opinion. They don't look bad, but they don't seal. I've already checked them, they don't seal. So we'll do a 3-angle valve job, they'll get done, and these heads will be ready to bolt on. So here's the intake manifold I'm going to be using. It has the old school style breather, and Edelbrock gives you the chrome one. However, I'm not going to be using that. I'm going to be using this one right here, which is identical to the factory style that's on the C10 now. So that'll look a lot better. I'll paint the tube black, and of course I'll put that little decal on it. And there's the part number of that oil fill cap if y'all are interested in it. Bought it from classicparts.com, I believe. But I think that's who makes it actually. They just resell it. So I believe Edelbrock's the only one I know that makes an intake that a 4-barrel intake that has this style breather. So if y'all want to go to that old school look, this is the intake to get. Show you all the part number. And there's the actual part number for this intake. Let me show you all the water pump. Alright, here's the Edelbrock water pump. It's a short style, which is what's on the C10 now. So, only issue I may have is the factory pulley may not work on these hole patterns. I won't know until I get that far with it, but if not, I'll just have to get some new pulleys. There's the part number to that. Let me show you all the rest of the stuff I got for it. Alright, here we go. Some ARP fasteners. These are the head bolts. There's the part number for that. There's the flywheel bolts. Part number for that. Intake manifold bolts. Part number for that. That engine's a one-piece rear main seal, so I'm gonna have to buy a flywheel for it. I don't have one. When I acquired the engine, it had a flex plate for an automatic transmission, so I'll have to get a new flywheel. But show you what else I got. Alright, there's the valve springs and valves that came out of the engine. Like I said, these are brand new stainless steel valves. As you can tell, That ain't no three-angle valve job on there. I think what the guy did, bought some brand new valves and stuck them in there. I don't even think he lapped them in. That's what happens when you buy stuff from Craigslist. But that's no big deal. We'll put it all back together, take a machine shop, get a three-angle valve job done, and these heads will be good to go. Valve keepers there. So, and once I finish that head right here, clean that one up, and then I'll put both heads back together. Here's the other head over here. It's already been cleaned. I slightly oiled it and then bagged it back up so it doesn't get dirty. But yeah, show you all the rocker arms. And here are all the rocker arms I'll be using. This engine had a different set of heads, so I marked all these rocker arms, but since I'm using a new set of heads, with new valve stems, I shouldn't have to worry about it. These are roller tips by Comp Cams. 1.52 ratio. And so that'll work out good. I won't be using these push rods. Don't know who makes them, don't really care. These are the ones I'll be using. Assuming when I check my valve geometry, these will work. If these are too short or too long, I'll have to buy a set, but these are chromoly push rods. That particular part number there, if you bought them from Summit right now, I think it's about $145. So they're not cheap, but they're very good. I got them on my 70 C10. Not that particular part number, but the exact same size and material. So that's pretty much it. Let's discuss this in the closing comments. Alright, YouTube, there you have it. Pretty much caught up on the 350 project I got going on for the C10. I'm shooting for late spring, maybe early summer to get it in. I still got quite a few things I gotta acquire, mainly a flywheel, clutch kit, going to an electric fuel pump. Probably gonna stick with the same one I got on my white C10, the 70. It's an Edelbrock. I've had that thing on there for 8 years and I've never had an issue with it, so go with what works. So I'm gonna get one of those. I'm gonna go to an old school stamped steel valve cover, and don't know how I'm gonna do the PCV valve yet, but when I figure it out, we'll go over that and I'll let y'all know. But I got a 600 CFM Edelbrock carburetor that's practically new. Just need to clean it up. I'll probably go ahead and overhaul it, put a new fresh kit in there, and it should be good to go. But overall, I think this 350 will be a fun little motor. It's definitely not going to be a ground pounder. It's not going to be no drag racer, but should have, you know, I'd say anything above 300 horsepower is a win for me. But yeah, 300 horsepower, 320, 325. Man, if I get 350, that'd be awesome. But I am going to be reusing the exhaust manifolds that are on the truck now, so that's going to hold me back on power. So 350 may be pushing it. If I was running headers, I would expect 350, but I don't know. The manifolds may hold me back, but that's no big deal. As far as the color of the engine, I'm probably going to stick with gray. On the C10s back in those days, the 283s were painted gray and the 327s were painted alpine green. The best of my knowledge, all the car 283s and 327s were painted orange. But in their trucks, they painted them differently, and I kind of like that, so I went with a it's a Duplicolor paint, and it's a new Ford Gray, part number 1611. That's what it should look like. I think it'll look nice. It's a little lighter than the actual dark gray that they painted them back then. I know a lot of people who go for that, or even if they rebuild a 283 or just want one that looked like a 283, they use a Ford Gray because, you know, they're relatively available and easy to use. I've also thought about doing the Alpine Green, making it look like a 327. I thought that would be fun because this is going to be a temporary power plant. The 283 will go back in the C10 at some point in its life, but for now we're just doing a 350, and should have a lot of fun with it. I got plenty of things I want to, plenty of places I want to go. So I want to have a reliable engine that'll get me there and back, and I should have no issues. But other than that, I think it'll be fun. The only other thing I may try to do this year is I need to rebuild that drive shaft. When I get the 350 in there, I want to do a dual exhaust system. I'm leaning towards a MagnaFlow glass pack muffler. Kind of want to do something different. No Flow Masters, no chambered style muffler, turbo muffler. May just stick with that old school vibe, and so I'm going to do that. And the only big other thing I want to do is disc brake upgrade. Is drum brakes are a thing of the past. They're fine for rear axles, but for the front they suck. So that's definitely in the future. So there you have it. I'm pretty much caught y'all up for the most part. You get the idea of what I'm doing here. It's not that exciting, but just thought I'd catch y'all up to what's going on. And when I get these heads back from the machine shop, I'll show y'all that, and we'll get them put on the engine and get going on this project. Like I always say, until then, thanks for watching.